Oh, Beck said that he believes this guy, Obama, is a racist. She said on Fox News, July 28th, 2009.
Officials who don't understand
who
we are. Those who understand who we are grateful for our president.
Yes, I would say that. Cool. And the reason why I say that is the blacks put him in office. Therefore he is more dedicated to the black community than he would be the white community. Cool.
Why are modern conservatives seen as racist? Conservatives, as a whole, are not racist. This video explores the reasons why this stereotype might exist. Hopefully it inspires the necessary introspection to actually help solve this image problem by explaining how they come across to others. Let's be honest, those who see modern-day conservatives as racist aren't basing this belief off of nothing whatsoever. It comes from somewhere. The hard truth is that when we get the impression that conservatives might be racist, it's based on behavior that's witnessed with enough consistency to leave that impression. Whether it's indicative of most conservatives or not, when prominent conservatives habitually make racially prejudiced statements, it leaves an impression.
We have this. White comedian Paul Shanklin sings.
Barack, the magic Negro, lives in D.C. The L.A. Times, they called him that cause he's not authentic like me.
But do you understand what the New York Times wants and the far left want? They want to break down the white Christian male power structure of which you're a part, and so am I, and they want to bring in millions of foreign nationals to basically break down the structure that we have.
Half of the kids in this country under 5 years old are minorities. White people are having fewer. Put it bluntly, we need more babies.
I've dealt with people like this for 20 years. They will get up every day, they will kill somebody and go have some chicken at KF.
We keep marrying other species and other ethnics and other...
Are you sure they're not suffering from some of the causes of dementia right now?
The problem is the Swedes have pure genes because they marry other Swedes, because that's the rule. Finns marry other Finns, so they have a pure society. In America, we marry everybody.
Putin has time after time after time made Obama a monkey. First he takes Snowden. You have this with Assad.
Why are you saying that? Because you know people are going to criticize you for using that term against the president. Why are you saying that? Are you doing that to be provocative?
A conservative group is putting together an anti-Obama documentary.
No one's ever asked to see my birth certificate. They know that this is the place that we were born and raised.
So, nigga with an A on the end. Well, I think I can now. Isn't that the point? Because it's not racist. That's the point. I could be talking about a male.
Well, say you're a cocaine dealer, and you kind of look like one a little bit.
As do you. You look like a cocaine user.
There's an outreach, I don't even know what that means, by the Obama administration to African Americans. Right? Yeah. I don't know. What does that entail? Are they going to be on Soul Train? Now, that is pure racism.
People notice when prominent conservatives give a racist impression. The problem is, it isn't just the famous guys. For example, conservatives weren't chanting the mantra, "I want my country back," under any other Democratic white president. But sure enough, as soon as a black guy became president, this slogan became popular amongst conservatives. Now everyone knows this guy has some white blood in him, but in modern-day America, you're seen as black if you look like this. Go to any Tea Party rally since a minority became president, and you'll see this mantra amongst a sea of white faces. Other people see this and wonder, just who do you think took your country? It's no secret that racial demographics are changing. According to the census, most kids born in this country are no longer white. More minority births means that non-whites will outnumber whites within a generation. So yeah, from a limited racial perspective, you can see how some might think that minorities are taking over the country. People see a solidly white group chanting, "I want my country back," to a non-white president, and it leaves the impression that maybe race is a factor. One defense we like to use to dispute claims of racism is to use only the strictest, most overt definitions of racism, and then claim that anything that falls short of that, being it the N-word or physical violence, just doesn't count as racism. This is a complete misunderstanding of racism in post-Jim Crow America. In modern America, racism is seldom blatant. Just calling someone the N-word is no longer in. Most of the time.
We know the candidate Barack Obama, what he was like. The anti-war government,
And I'm a Republican. Republicans hate that nigger Obama.
I'm going to stop you there. We're not going to use that kind of language as we move on to Deborah.
The sign uses the N-word to refer to the president.
I couldn't believe it was just in public view like that.
82-year-old Commissioner Robert Copeland was heard calling President Obama the N-word.
I made no bones about it.
Modern racism is a lot more subtle, but still very similar to older racism in that it's an appeal to tribalism. The racist associates the minority with some sort of other. Something other than their traditional version of America. They associate the minority with something foreign, some sort of other, someone from somewhere else. You liken them to some unwanted, foreign-sounding thing, like communist. You don't call them the N-word, you call them Kenyan. Case in point, did conservatives claim that this person was secretly an African foreigner? How about this person? How about this person? How about this person? You see, all of these Americans were natural-born U.S. citizens. Meanwhile, presidential hopeful Ted Cruz says that he was born in Canada, but conservatives don't seem to mind. John McCain, he was born on a military base which is technically American soil, but in Panama, a foreign country. Once again, conservatives don't mind. Yet, this guy here, he isn't American according to about half of conservatives. They claim he is secretly Kenyan, an illegal immigrant. The truth is, less than about half of Republicans actually admit that Barack Hussein Obama is American. This has a huge impact on why conservatives are seen as racist. Many reputable polls all seem to agree that Republicans think that Obama is probably or definitely a foreigner. About a quarter of Republicans are just unsure, which leaves an alarming 20 to 30% of Republicans knowing correctly that he is American. This is increasingly stupid when you take into account how many forms of proof there are out there that he's American. I'm not cherry-picking data either. Many different sources all confirm the same thing. Republicans don't want to accept that the black one is American. And the numbers only seem to rise with time. Now, people notice when Republicans widely doubt the birthplace of the first non-white president. Rational people see this and think, gee, what a bunch of racist assholes. Pew Research found that Republicans saying that Obama is Muslim is also steadily increasing. Coincidentally, conservatives are said to have a prejudice against Muslims too. Obama is Christian, by the way, and has never said or implied that he's Muslim. He's only ever said that he's Christian.
You know, I'm a Christian by choice.
Interestingly, Newsweek and Princeton University both found that 52% of Republicans thought that Obama sympathized with those who wanted to impose Islamic law on the world. They thought this was definitely or probably true, that he sympathized with Sharia law. So why does a belief that he is foreign equate to a belief that he is Muslim? And why does Muslim equate to imposing Sharia law on the world? How does one make these leaps? No one ever said that racism was logical. It's a primal, tribal feeling that compels us to make irrational conclusions. Oftentimes, the racist will try to legitimize his beliefs by trying to back it up with logic, however unsound. Follow along. Barack Obama looks black. Black equals different. Different equals foreign. Foreign equals bad. Bad equals Muslim. Therefore, Barack Obama is a black, different, foreign, bad Muslim. In this way, a racist belief snowballs into a larger conspiracy theory. If one accepts the initial prejudiced belief, it's often a lot easier to accept subsequent beliefs. It's like I don't like this guy, therefore I'm more likely to believe negative things about him. Ever since conservative radio first heard the name Barack Obama, rumors began to circulate that he was secretly Muslim, but more importantly that he was also secretly a foreigner and therefore couldn't be president. Out of all of these presidential contenders, is it just a coincidence that this one is the one that they say isn't American? So the rumor became a mantra on the right of old white people saying, "Show me the birth certificate." Over the years, the conspiracy theory just kept growing, until eventually it all came to a head on April 27th, 2011, when the President of the United States had to take to the White House press room to take the demeaning, insulting role of proving that he is American.
I can't get the networks to break in on all kinds of other discussions. I was just back there listening to Chuck. He was saying, it's amazing that he's not going to be talking about national security.
There were bills to pass. There was stuff D.C. needed to do. But for weeks, all that was in the media was this question of whether or not the President of the United States was American. The first non-white president having to prove to America that he is American too. The president was insulted, the black community was insulted, rational America was insulted, but conservatives were happy just to have him do it. An interesting side note, remember the raid that finally killed Osama bin Laden on April 29th? Here's some perspective. We know that according to White House press, that the national security meetings were held on the operation from the 14th of March to April 28th, before finally giving the order on the 29th. Right in the middle of that, the president had to remind folks that just because he's black and has a funny name, doesn't mean that he's not American. Imagine what could have been going through his head at this moment. It kind of puts it into perspective when he said,
"We do not have time for this kind of silliness. We got better stuff to do. I've got better stuff to do."
Now, a lot of people see this whole debacle, see what this light-skinned guy had to go through that no other president had to go through, and think, gee, that's some racist bullshit right there. Now, consider if it was W who actually got Osama, instead of outsourcing the job to local ex-Al-Qaeda who decided to just let him go. Consider the reaction from conservatives if Bush took out Osama. I submit that they would have been ecstatic to give Bush his share of the credit. But Bush wasn't the commander-in-chief of the armed forces when we got him. It was this brown fella instead. Who, by the way, Republicans still insist, at least by a margin of near half, that he isn't even American. People see that double standard and think, that's kind of fucked up. I mean, heck, remember Ronald Reagan? He fought a proxy war with the Soviet Union by arming, training, and funding Islamic fighters in Afghanistan, guys who later became the Taliban, led by Osama bin Laden. Conservatives know this and still never speak negatively about Reagan foreign policy. Meanwhile, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, when Osama got killed, is secretly a sympathizer who isn't even American. People see this double standard and think, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. But no one ever said that racism was rational. It's absurdly irrational. And then we make up bullshit reasons to support it. It's like, I believe that Obama is Muslim Al-Qaeda sympathizer, therefore evidence to the contrary doesn't matter. Conclusion first, and then flimsy logic to support it. It's like, I believe Obama is an evil foreigner, therefore the birth certificate must be fake. So birth certificate didn't matter. Long-form birth certificate didn't matter. Birth announcement in the local newspaper where he was born didn't matter. Because with racism, you're basing your conclusion on what you feel to be true. Actual logic be damned. So the fact remains, people see stuff like this and think, what a bunch of ignorant racist assholes. But this alone isn't why modern-day Republicans can come across as racist. The whole birther thing, in context, with a host of comments and double standards from the right, is what draws this criticism. Sadly, people see this in the context of racist remarks from prominent conservatives along with a double standard when it comes to policy, along with who they rally behind as their folk heroes. And racism isn't a label elicited by just birtherism alone. It's part of a larger picture. But yeah, insisting that the first non-white president is an American is part of it. Now, I still maintain that conservatives, as a whole, are not racist. This video just offered one explanation as to why they're seen this way. I could make more, and I plan to, so if you're interested, like and subscribe. Thanks.
Daydream, I fell asleep amid the flowers for a couple of hours on a beautiful day.